LASIK complications and how do we troubleshoot it. I don't have any financial interest. So to start with, I would just like to tell you that LASIK complications are rare. Like it's safer than walking on road. If you see what is the incidence of PCR, what is the incidence of endophthalmitis, the complication rate in LASIK is even lesser than that. So what I am going to show you is that the cases who have been referred to us, so these are the ones which generally refractive surgeon sees once in a lifetime, twice in a lifetime. So please don't get overwhelmed for that. So next 15 minutes, review of literature, incidence, prognosis table, survival analysis chart, treatment protocol, workflow, all those things will not be there. All I'm going to do is show you 6 cases, 4 videos, that's it. Let's start with case 1. So this 23-year-old male had undergone LASIK 2 weeks back. He was a software engineer and he was told that he'll be able to join his job within 2 days. But it's been 2 weeks and he was very uncomfortable with the blurriness of the vision in the right eye. He was very unhappy when he came to us. When he came to us, this was spot diagnosis, no prices for the diagnosis. This is flap stria, which, and if you see it in the retroillumination, it looks so beautifully well. And why it happened, you can see here that the edge is not opposed. So the flap got shifted on one side, and even the epithelium has come in this gap which had been created, and now there are folds in the flap. And because cornea is anterior surface, if you see the most of the refraction gets over there, so the patient is having a lot of abrasions, and that's why the blurring of vision. So what we did was, we did a treatment of this. So what I feel is any refractive surgeon should be able to deal with this flap stria. You don't need a cornea surgeon for this. So I'm going to show you this video that how do you actually do it. See, the first step and the foremost step in dealing with flap stria is the removal of epithelium. That's very important, because in the fold there has been crest and troughs. And in all those troughs, there is a lot of epithelium that's stuck over there. You need to remove those epithelium, then only you will be able to stretch that flap back into its position. So what I am doing here is using alcohol and ensuring that all epithelium is removed. Once all epithelium is removed, so what I am doing here is instilling distilled water. So once epithelium is out, then it's not yet removed, okay. So I'm using 15 number plate, removal of all epithelium. So it is important to swell this flap. For that you use a distilled water. So once this flap gets swollen, it's easy to stretch it. Just like if you are ironing a shirt and it has a lot of wrinkles, you spray some water in it so that it gets ironed well. So removal of epithelium from all those troughs, and then swelling it with using distilled water. And then you just place it in the right position. The end point is the edge to edge should be nicely opposed. I'm using a Merosol sponge. Ensure that you wait, and what you can do is you can use a semi-dry Merosol sponge, which ensures that the ironing becomes very easy. And if you have the flap to flap position, that's it. That's all you have to do for removing those stria which is giving a lot of problem to the patient. And this is a patient on the next day. Patient improved to 20/20 within 3-4 days, and he could join back his job. Case 2. This lady had undergone LASIK 10 years back, and then 10 years after her LASIK, she was sipping a cold drink in a restaurant, and then suddenly her son came and jumped on her back. The straw went into her eyes, and she had a lot of problems. She went to the primary surgeon again, and there she was told that your flap has got dislocated and it is not in the same place. It was repositioned, and then she was doing fine. 6 months after this incident, she started having pain, dimness of vision, blurry vision, and lot of glare, very discomfort. She had a lot of discomfort, and this was the cornea picture. Again, it's a spot diagnosis. There are epithelial cells which are lying in the interface. The thing what we call is epithelial ingrowth. You can see these all are epithelium, and when we saw closely, there was a hole in the flap. And from this hole, if you can see, these epithelial cells were going in the interface. And there they were multiplying and creating these pockets or these islands of clumps of epithelial cells. You can see there it has close to 61 micron thickness also. how do you manage this epithelial ingrowth that happens after LASIK? Again, here you don't need to be a cornea surgeon to do this. You can do it very, very well on your own. So here again, first of all, you have to remove the epithelium. Preferably you can remove all epithelium, but you have to remove epithelium where the flap edge is, and you have to lift. These are the epithelial cells which are lodged in the interface, and you need to remove it. So when you are removing this or you are trying to lift this edge, just sometimes you feel a lot of resistance. That means there are a lot of epithelial cell chunk is there. So here, there was a hole also, if you can see in this area. So there was a hole from there, all these epithelial cells were going down. So once you have lifted the flap, ensure that all these epithelial cells gets removed. You can use your 50 number blade to remove all these epithelial cells. What is important is you need to remove these epithelial cells from the host bed, and as well as on the under surface of this flap. So you ensure that no epithelial cell remains. You can use alcohol if you want. So, and very important is sometimes these epithelial cells are coming from the edges. So there also spend some time and ensure all these cells are, or all this debris that is seen is removed well. And after that, place a bandage contact lens, ensure it is iron weld, edge to edge apposition, and that's it. The flap, the epithelial ingrowth cells is clean, and this is how she looked like on day 1, and she improved to 20/20. No recurrence so far. Having said that, for these epithelial ingrowth patients, you need to keep an eye. Sometimes there is a track from where these epithelial cells can come again. Third patient was similar to our first patient who had all slight trauma and posterior LASIK. This is how it looked like. So looked like that there is a cut. So that means the flap got torn in that area. Along with there is a epithelial ingrowth. So when we remove this epithelium all over, and when we try to lift this flap, so there is a cut that I could see here. And first of all, I am removing all this epithelium. Then from the edge, I'll take my flap lifter inside. And if you see here, what is happening is, there was a flap fold. So it was not a cut. So what had happened is, due to trauma, the flap got folded inside, and there was an epithelium. From there, the epithelium went inside and created all that epithelial ingrowth. So very slowly, carefully, that was unfolded, which was there was a fade fold, and again all these epithelial cells were removed using the same technique that I had shown you before. 50 number blade, clean the bed, clean the undersurface of the flap, and then reposition the flap back, and that's it. So you can see the same patient becomes 20/20. The whole thing is gone. The flap got unfolded, and the epithelial cells are also gone. So this is like a horror movie. So I remember around 10 years back, in the middle of the OPD, I got a call from a very senior friend. He said, "Vikas, मैं तेरे पास एक पेशेंट भेज रहा हूँ जिसको तुझे बायलैटरल केरेटोप्लास्टी करनी है." मैं सर बायलैटरल केरेटोप्लास्टी? He said, "Yes, bilateral keratoplasty, because he has got a bad thing. Just you do whatever, arrange tissue, and you have to do it today." I said, "Okay, sir, let me see the patient." This was the patient, how he looked like. Unfortunately, he had undergone LASIK for -4 diopter 3 weeks ahead of his marriage. On day 1, the vision was good as per the referring doctor, and the problem started on day 3. And the surgeon felt that there is an infection. He started netamycin, vancomycin, but it was still worsening. And for that, he was referred. When I saw him first, he was not, really furious. He was not angry. He was very depressed, and he was tense. The main worry for him was, "Doctor साहब, मेरी 3 हफ्ते के बाद शादी है, मैं क्या करूँगा?" He was more worried about his marriage. So this was an infection. Whenever you have an infection or suspicious infection, what is the first thing that you do? Take the patient in OR, lift the flap, and take scraping. It is very, very, very important, both medical, legal as well as clinical point of view. You need to know what you are dealing with. So once you have documented this is the organism, and then only you start your treatment. So we took the patient into OR, lifted the flap, and when we lifted, we found that the whole flap was infiltrated. The whole flap. There was a base on the bed also, there was infiltrated, but this whole flap was infiltrated. And what we did was, we amputated the flap. We cut that flap, removal of flap was done in both the eyes. And when we sent for Microbiology, it was filamentous fungus, which grew also. We started with voriconazole, all antifungal that is possible, and you can see this is 24 hours after flap amputation and starting antifungal medications. 6 weeks, he improved to 2040, 2060. 6 months, 2020, 2040. And he could actually get married 3 months after the marriage with the same girl. And he is very happy whenever he comes. He still follows. Whenever he comes, he brings some kind of short, small gifts, and is very grateful. So the infection per se is very rare. These are the few patients that had come to us in last decade or so. And if you follow the scientifically, all these patients can be managed. All you have to do is you need to understand that what is the etiology, and if you follow those protocols, all these patients get managed very well. My second last case. So this 31-year-old patient had undergone LASIK way back. He had asthma, he had depression, he was on many kind of medications, and his problem was in the left eye. Left eye, he was saying that progressively my vision is deteriorating, and you can see this -4 diopter syndrome was what bothering him. This is the right eye, and this is the left eye. Dr. Sharma had just shown you this. This was nothing but PLE or post-LASIK atresia. These post-LASIK, if you ask me that one indication for Intacs, I would say all Intacs or any intracorneal rings, that would be PLE. These patients do very well on Intacs. And how do we do it? So I'll just show you this video. So the whole plan comes with in a sheet, and this is a small ring. We prepare this pocket with femtosecond laser. So I prepared it using a femtosecond laser, and then you push this intact ring into the channel that has been created. Generally, you need only one such ring that you place in the inferior segment wherever there is a steepening, and this is how it is done. Once it is placed in the channel, and this planning is done beforehand only, and then you can suture this entry wound, and then you do a cross-linking. Why do you cross-linking? Ensure that you don't remove the epithelium over this ring. So that otherwise sometimes next day you see a lot of reaction over there. Same patient, you can see this is a pre-op, and this is 1 month, and this is 6 months. Patient is 6 weeks, the -4 diopter has become, and you can see in the center, it's the steepening which was there, this has been pushed over there and frozen there with using of collagen cross-linking. So do we have to do something for these cases that we see the post-LASIK problems? So well, let's see. This is my last case. So this patient, one of my friend called me up. He said, "Vikas boss, मेरे यहाँ पर कुछ problem है. 5 cases में बहुत problem हो गया है." And this patient was coming on day 1 with dimness of vision and some kind of whiteness in the cornea. Looks like this DLK. And he said that I am planning to lift this flap and do a wash. I said, "Okay, एक बार जरा photo भेज." So he sent a photograph, and this is what the photograph was. This is not DLK. This is one of the rare thing. This is the whiteness in the center. It is like puckering in the center. So it has a more of a feel of a scar. There are feel of cells, right? This is CTK. This, if I try to tell you, this is equivalent to task that you have that happens intraoperatively. What do you do for these kind of patients? Please don't lift the flap. Please don't do anything, because all you have to do is just observe. And counseling. This is self-limiting. Over a period of 3 to 6 months, generally this goes off, leaving some hyperopic shift, but otherwise you don't have to do anything, something for these kind of patients. This is a rare thing, but I just thought that I'll just mention it. This happens only in the flap. So these are the few things that we have seen. We have seen stria, epithelial line growth, flap fold. This refractive surgeon can manage on their own. Infection, please take help of your cornea colleague. PLE also you can manage on your own. CTK you don't have to do anything. I have not touched upon the microkeratome related complications because we use a lot of femtosecond, and these are very rare. Be free cap, irregular thickness, buttonhole, blood flap gain, incomplete. But in any case, if anything of all of these, anything happens, the thumb rule is defer the surgery. Don't do anything. Take the patient again after 3 months and do a PRK. As simple as that. So I personally don't believe in cutting the cornea twice. So if you have an incomplete, then you go take it again, go larger and deeper. You can do that if you want. In my opinion, just defer the surgery, don't do anything, take the patient again after 3 months and do it. That's it. Thank you so much. From my side, there's a link of all the videos that I have shown you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Vikas. always very inspiring to make everything look very easy. And he is also very eager to teach. He has this PDF of Cornea colors, which I